Hello everyone, this is Raf and welcome back to Office Space. Today's video is very special because it's the first video of mine to be sponsored and because it's the first time I am uploading an aquarium setup video. In this video, I will talk about the decisions that went into setting up the tank and how I used the Microbe-lift products. For this video, I will also be breaking down the theoretical cost of the entire setup to give an idea of how much it could be for new aquascapers who are just getting into the hobby to afford a new tank setup of their own. So with that said, let's break the setup down. For this setup, I'm using my old 20-gallon quarantine tank. I bought this back in 2018 and I was lucky enough to get this from a friend at a discounted price. I'm using as well the old eLive LED pod track lighting that I got back in 2018 from another friend at a discounted price. The only thing that's brand new in this aquarium setup is the sponge filter that I got from a nearby pet store. The stand that I'm using at the moment is a 4-cube Walmart shelf that I have been using for this tank for a couple of years now. I must confess that I'm still a little nervous using this shelf as a tank stand because after doing some research on it, I am currently exceeding the weight rating on it, but I haven't had any problems so far with it. The substrate that I'm using for this setup is a 9-kilogram bag of Tropica planting soil that I stored at my parents' garage for when I pick up a sponsor and needed to set up my 20-gallon tank. This was my very first planting soil and it served me well in my very first planted tank. I love everything about it and I trust it to help my plants grow healthily. The only thing that I don't like about it is that the granules feel very light and it rolls down my embankment more easily compared to my Seachem Fluorite Red that stays in place more readily. It has very low turbidity and does a great job of holding plants down. However, it is quite pricey. Because of the fact that I can't really afford to buy a completely new batch of plants, I am using plants that I've had for a while now from both my terrarium and my main display tank. I selected plants that are not high maintenance because I plan to keep this tank low tech. The plant selections are Hygrophila polysperma, Hygrophila pinnipitata, Bacopa caroliniana, Rotala bonsai, Rotala atra, Rotala rotundifolia, Sturgeon repens, and Ranunculus inundatus. I specifically selected these plants because they look amazing, they are easy to take care of, and they propagate very easily, allowing the tank to fill in within a matter of a few months. My evil plan is to get a couple of buddies who used to be aquascapers themselves back into the aquascaping hobby by showing them how easily it is to set up a lush setup for your new tank. Back in the days, we were all cichlid keepers, so we didn't really have a lot of plants. I'm actually the first person to go into a full planted setup tank, so hopefully this will inspire them into going back into the hobby. Because this tank is still only a couple of days old, I made sure that the bio load is super light. I only put in 6 younger emperor tetras to be the source of ammonia to help establish the cycle. Um, I know that there are a lot of hobbyists out there who don't put fish in until much later, but this is something that I have been doing for the last 20 years and I haven't had a die-off event. Also, these fish are harder to find in my area and wanted to seize the chance of finally getting to take care of a few of them. So this is the first time that I have ever properly set up a tank in terms of using water additives. In the past, 80% of the time I simply put regular tap water in, put the fish in, and walked away. If the water smells of chlorine, then I would put the chlorinator in, but it's very rare. I didn't have the extra money for aquarium chemicals. However, with the help from the good people from Microbe-lift, I was able to set this tank up the way that most experts advise tanks should be set up with water additives. The water additives that I've used are as follows. The first water additive is Microbe-lift Extreme Water Conditioner. It is a specially developed water conditioner for both fresh and saltwater aquariums. It removes chlorine, destroys chloramines, and detoxifies nitrate, nitrite, and heavy metals. It also adds essential electrolytes and a multi-part skin slime coat replacer. The second water additive that I used is the Microbe-lift Special Blend Water Care. It is a specially formulated consortium of bacteria designed to create a stable biological system in fresh and saltwater aquariums. It breaks down organic wastes, improves growth and nutrient uptake in plants and corals. It also aids in the reduction of ammonia and nitrite and breaks down excess proteins. It reduces maintenance and clears water as well. The third water additive that I used is the Microbe-lift All-in-One Bloom and Grow. It is a specially designed plant supplement for all aquatic plants. It encourages lush growth, strong plants, and roots. Um, I've always actually wanted something like this before, but going into pet stores, big box pet stores, I've always found uh, these kinds of water additives pretty pricey and just it's not something that I could afford at the time. So it's very nice that I get to try this and give feedback on what my experience is.
So just a bit of a side note, this is the starter bacteria that I got from Microbe-lift. Um, when I opened the bottle, I was pretty shocked by how strong the odor was coming from the bacteria. But then again, that's what one can expect when we're dealing with a bottle of bacteria. If you notice, I have gloves, a glove on. I just want to make sure that I don't get it on my skin and just have that smell going on. So I'm not going to be directly putting this into my tank and opening it in my living room. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing this in my bathroom. I'm just going to end up putting it in the bucket of water and then bringing it out into the living room because I have scented candles going. I'm gonna have my air ventilation running the entire time because it's not a very good smell. I'll be honest about that. So I want to keep any particular smells in the bathroom where that's where you have a lot of your scented candles and all that stuff going on anyway. So just be aware that I will be using this. I'm going to be putting the recommended dose in the bucket right away and then filling it up with water and then putting it into the tank. I'm not going to be opening this out there.
The last water additive that I used is the Microbe-lift Plants In. It is a specially developed nitrogen supplement for all freshwater plants. It supports magnificent plant growth and helps prevent your aquatic plants from suffering from nitrogen deficiency. There were other water additives in the package that I received, but I didn't feel like I needed to use them as well because I used a sealed bag of tropical planting soil, which is already charged with nutrients. The most amazing part in this package is the fact that each bottle has tips telling you how to best use the product. As an example, the nitrogen supplement bottle, it has a formula that shows you how to calculate for the optimal dose. I have never seen other supplements before using my DIY liquid fertilizer. I've never seen any supplements bought from a store that would have tips uh, on how to best use it. So in my mind, this was actually a very cool treat. The next topic that I wanted to talk about is the scape and style that I used for the aquarium. I am currently using a slightly triangular scape with a heavy point in the back left and gradually becoming lighter as it spreads out. I chose a triangular setup because I've never used this setup before and I really wanted to try it. I plan on heavily shaping the triangular scape with the plant selection and trimming instead of just banking the substrate heavy uh, onto the heavy point location. I really want the roots to have a lot of substrate to spread into instead of just hitting a substrate stabilizing wedge or a bag underneath it used for embankment of the substrate. The tallest growing plants are the ones planted in the heavy point and the shorter ones in the lighter points, which will greatly accentuate the triangular shape. I decided to use a low-tech setup for this aquarium because if asked by someone else to opine on which option most beginners would choose, I would wager that most beginners would choose a low-tech setup. It is also the less expensive of the two setups, high-tech or low-tech setups, and easier to maintain, hence it was an easy decision. All right, so with all this said, let's take a look at the invoice. However, I will not be factoring in the additive sent to me by Microbe-lift because if I had to buy my own additives, if I wasn't sponsored by them, I would always go for the smaller bottles. And guys, they sent me huge bottles. Um, so in a situation, I'm not going to be factoring in the additive costs. Um, and simply because without them sending these to me, I would never have bought water additives, with the exception of maybe a dechlorinator if the water really smells like chlorine. That would really be the only exception to this. So the theoretical invoice shows the first item would be the 20-gallon tank that I bought secondhand in 2019. So that was around $30. The eLive Light bought secondhand in 2018. That was about $60. That already included the pods in them, the LED pods. So that was very, very appreciated. Um, the third item would be the sponge filter that was bought brand new yesterday at $15. The Walmart 4 cube shelf that was um, about $40. And then the Tropic Soil 9 kilogram bag that was bought back early on this year. It was around $60. Um, Now the plants, because they came from my tank, this is a bit harder to price, but maybe if I had to buy them from my local store as individual bunches, maybe if they were around less than $10 each. I'll just round it up to a nice number of $10 each, and there's 8 of them, so about $80. I bought the 6 Emperor Tetras yesterday, so that's about $50. $0 for the water additives because again, I normally don't buy them, and if I do buy a small bottle of water dechlorinator, it'll be like I don't even know, less than $5. I'm not going to factor that in. So with all of this calculated, it would be at around $335. So it is a bit of an expense for some people, but in my opinion, it is definitely worth it. Okay, there we go. I hope that this was informative to all of you and that it inspires you to start your own aquascape. I know that it can be very daunting as an undertaking and sometimes also very, very frustrating. But for the majority of the time, as long as you have good aquarium maintenance habits, then fish keeping is a very relaxing and enjoyable hobby. Please make sure to like this video and follow and subscribe to my Instagram page or YouTube channel. Until next time, this is Raf from Office Space.